It's no big secret that Disney did not have a good week last week. Starting off, the news came out about a company being sued over false subscriber numbers, fraud towards investors, the Disney Star Wars hotel closing, and of course, the very poor reviews for the Indiana Jones movie at Cannes. So, they're hoping maybe they can come back this week. And what's the big thing that's happening? Well, The Little Mermaid is coming out, the remake of the 1989 classic animated movies coming out because again we need another live remake. This one of course has its string of issues and potential controversies, of course the one main one being that Ariel does not exactly look like the cartoon character. No, they've cast an actress named Haley Bailey, Bailey. I always forget, I get her confused with Halle Berry for some reason. So it's Haley Bailey, a young American woman, to play Ariel. Of course, that's going to strike up some controversy, but it has come out. And let's go to the Rotten Tomato score. How are we doing on it? Well, doesn't look that bad, to be honest. I mean, it is still fresh. Audience members are high, but we got to look a little further in this. So when you dive down in, look at these things. So we got all critics, top critics. The top critics number is interesting. 46. 46% of the top critics. The audience, 51%. What are those top critics saying? Let's take a quick peek. Top critics. Who are some of the people who are not liking this? We have names for those people, which probably could be said, but we know what we mean. Huffington Post. There's a shocker. Movie Freak, Wall Street Journal, San Diego Reader. Some not good numbers. There's one particular I saw. Detroit News, it's flat, dramatically vacant, and visually inert with a lead performance that all too closely resembles a fish out of water. New York Times, this one's not nice. It reeks of obligation and noble intentions. Joy, fun, mystery, risk, flavor, kink, they're missing. Why kink? I don't know, New York Times, what the hell you're writing. Anyway, of course, how's it going to do? Well, they're predicting a $100 million weekend opening, which, is not bad for this movie. I believe it made about $10 million on Thursday night previews. And when you go to the numbers now, we got The Little Mermaid as of Friday making $38 million. So that's almost $40 million. But again, this is a holiday weekend, Memorial Day weekend. Let's go look at some of the past history. This is where we are. The top one, of course, being Maverick with about $126 million. Look at some Disney ones here. We got Pirates of the Caribbean and the movie that should not exist but does, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So what do we got over on our Pirates of the Caribbean side? Well, it did not do well domestically. But when you look at what it did as it opened to $114 million. That's decent. On the first preview showing, it showed about 13 million, 42 million Friday, 37 million, Saturday. So Little Mermaid is tracking pretty close to those. So perhaps it's going to do as well. But you go check out Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Surprisingly, this made money. Wow. People just, wow. It opened to $100 million back in 2008. First preview showing is $25 million. That's a good preview showing. First day was 30. Second was 36, 33 million. So, it made money, beat its perspective, beat its budget. The budget I hear for Little Mermaid is about 250 million, I think. Up and down a little bit. So obviously, this movie's going to have to make over 650, 700 million dollars. Can it do it? Well, I think the thing it does have going for it, apart from what criticism there may be about certain characters' portrayals, it's made for kids. So if kids like it, kids are going to go see it. Why? Because they're going to drag their parents to go see it. So there's definitely a chance, but I mean, this is one you're going to have to keep watching throughout the weekend. It will probably make overall over Memorial Day weekend over $100 million. But the other big thing that came out this week for Disney, Indiana Jones. Yeah, because last week wasn't bad enough. You think, premiering a con and having those early reviews come out, you thought that was bad, right? So how did it come out? 51%. Yeah. Yeah, that was not good. That was not good. But then, this is what gets me. So they premiered at Cannes about 6 weeks before the movie's supposed to come out, and you think no one's going to talk about it, as if the bad reviews aren't enough. You don't think the obvious is going to happen. What are we talking about? Well, of course, it's a big old leak on Reddit, probably 4chan as well, and all the YouTube channels are spotting it. Fair to do. We knew it was going to happen. You'd be crazy to think it wouldn't happen. I have read it over. I found it, read it over. The person who wrote it is very detailed in the review of it. Um, Obviously, what most people predicted would happen appears to be what's happening. And if you go look at Bounding into comics, it says exactly it. Alleged Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny plot leak claims Phoebe Waller-Bridges' character makes a heroic choice to knock out Indiana Jones to protect history. Yeah, so as we all know, this involves time travel, including a device called the Dial of Destiny. Somehow transports him back in time, and Indiana Jones decides, you know what, I'm going to stay in the past. Why? Because apparently this is what Disney does with any Harrison Ford character. They completely deconstruct it, make it crap, and then, try to get rid of them. Star Wars, they really got rid of them. Yeah, granted, Harrison Ford always thought Han Solo should die, but the way he did and the character he became was just awful. Deadbeat dad neglecting his kid. That's Harrison Ford's Han Solo in the sequels. This one, well, he's morbid and morose and depressed, getting divorced. His son died in war. So he decides to stay back in time. He doesn't want to go back forward in time. And takes the brave hero, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who is, made many significant contributions to fine franchises, including the Star Wars franchise and James Bond. And she ends up being the hero. I'm not going to say heroine because that implies some sort of gender. We know that's wrong. So she ends up saving the day. And this is something you don't want to see. Harrison Ford admits Indiana Jones is not so strong, not so brave, not so attentive. An Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny. All right, let's be honest with ourselves. This movie should have never been made. Never should have been made. You got a man he's almost 80 years old. No one wants to see an 80-year-old Indiana Jones, for God's sakes. I mean, this is the image of Indiana Jones we're going to see? Befuddled? Confused? Is that what we want? I don't know about you. I don't want it. Looking a little scared? Yeah, anyone who's been watching the Indiana Jones series since the beginning, one of the greatest trilogies ever made. We can ignore 4. It portrayed Indiana Jones kind of as an everyman, who always, my opinion, always strove above his means and accomplished great things. Had a lot of luck along the way, had a nice wry sense of humor, and ultimately was very human. But at the same time, he's heroic. No one wants to get old. It sucks. Getting old sucks. And we don't want to see our heroes get old. I don't want to see 80-year-old Indiana Jones. Why? Because I know he's an 80-year-old man. No. No one wants to see that. Who? This to me is Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Holding the whip. Fighting off a bunch of guys. Shooting one because he's a little bored. Too tired to fight again, so he just pulls out his gun. Standing on the bridge. Temple of Doom. Whip. Sword in hand. Riding a horse. Shooting at the Yahtzees. Saving his dad. Saving the Holy Grail. That's Indiana Jones. That's Indiana Jones. Disney, I still cannot fathom the decision beyond this. Why would you release this at Cannes? I know you want to make a splash, but someone had to know what this movie looked like. It's rumored to be costing well over $300 million. That means it's going to probably have to make $1 billion worldwide. With this much information coming out about the movies, if these leaks prove to be true, this is not going to be a movie that's going to, expand by word of mouth. We saw Guardians expand by word of mouth and hold well the second week. Will this do the same? I really doubt it. It's probably going to have a really good opening because it's Indiana Jones, and still people want to remember Indiana Jones and nostalgia. But when we see the hero being led around, that's not our Indiana Jones. That's not what we want. But that's what we're getting. Why? I don't know. Because someone wants Phoebe Waller-Bridge to don the fedora? The hell? This was a bad idea by Disney. They continue to make bad decisions. We know there's more coming. We know there's more coming. We got a new Disney series coming out in June. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, Disney, you didn't recover this week. Maybe you're gonna, do okay on Little Mermaid, but this movie should be a big movie. Well, no, Indiana Jones movies should be big movies. They're not going to be anymore. They're not going to be anymore. Not with Harrison Ford being Harrison Ford, 80-year-old man. Just re-release Raiders. Make money off that. People want to see that. They don't want to see 80-year-old Harrison Ford. No one does. Questions, comments, witticisms down below. Click like, click subscribe. I'll see you later.